Thanks for joining us. I'm Marlon Bowling with you as we watch your ag commodity trade here on a Friday. We're focusing on our grains on this segment. And before the trade even opened up for the daytime session, we had what normally would have been an overnight export sale announcement. However, it was a little bit different this time. It was an overnight announcement, but it was not export sales. It was export cancellations. Soybeans, we had 180,000 tons that were earmarked for sale to China being canceled. And we had soybeans for the optional origin category, and they had been sold to unknown destinations. That was 120,000 tons, and those were also canceled overnight. So you add those together, that is a net 300,000 ton cancellation, although we may or may not have been the recipient of that optional origin purchase anyway. So keep that in mind. Markets have been a little softer here on the corn and soybeans, and we're going to find out why here in just a moment. On the corn, we have December down about 2 3/4 cents at 3.68 per bushel. So we're down within half a penny of our low of the day at this point, 3 cents off our daily high. Now, if we look at the soybean market, even with all the bearish news, the soybeans are only moving 3 cents to the downside. Right now, you have November trading at 8.60 1/4, down 3 1/4. January down 3.5 cents. And on the wheat market in Chicago, December wheat, we're now trading 2 3/4 higher at 5.15 3/4. And in Kansas City wheat, we have the December contract currently trading at 5.17 1/4. That would be 2.5 cents higher on the day. Meanwhile, Minneapolis spring wheat trade, we have December there, 2 1/4 higher at 5.87 1/4. By the way, the cotton market, we're going to be talking cotton coming up here in our next hour. And cotton right now is a little bit weaker today. We have December down 19 points at 77.86 cents per pound. Scott Gecas joins us from the trading floor in Chicago, and he's with Longleaf Trading Group. And Scott, always a pleasure to visit with you. The mood on the trading floor this morning on the grain side is what?
Yeah, the cancellation was the biggest thing that came out as far as the grain goes with soybeans. Not only that, but when I was on Wednesday, we were talking about the 2 cargoes that left for China, and those 2 cargoes were before the tariffs were actually in place. Now, there was news that came out overnight that those 2 cargoes are stalled. They're not able to hit the market. So not only with the cancellations that came out of China, but now these 2 cargoes that were shipped, they're not able to enter the Chinese market. So that's definitely a significant factor, and regardless of the bearish news, just like you said, the beans have been resilient. They're really not moving around too much. That's really surprising. I thought we would get a little bit pushed lower with all that cancellations. As far as the corn market goes, it's a little bit softer just due to the global demand fears going back and forth between all of the South American countries as well as Russia and China, and going back and forth. One thing I want to point out in the wheat market, as I was walking up, the wheat market has been range bound for quite some time. That is confirmed, but as I was walking up, there was an iron condor that traded 12,000 times. That's a very significant number of contracts being traded in the wheat market. Now, that is confirming that we are range bound and it's going to stay in a tight range. So we're going to see how that actually shapes up and plays out in the next few weeks.
I haven't heard that trading term used for a while. You might explain to our audience what you mean when you say an iron condor trade.
Okay, so an iron condor trade, basically what it is it's bracketing the market. It's taking pretty much a channel, selling the top of the channel, or buying the top of the channel, or buying the bottom of the channel and selling the middle, and all you want is to stay within the 2 top strikes. As long as it stays within the 2 top strikes, it's a sideways trade. That trade will be profitable.
Okay, we're going to pause for a quick little break here, Scott, and then I want to get your thoughts on the livestock trade ahead of the big USDA report coming out later today. Scott Gecas is our guest. We'll be talking with him about cattle and hogs right after this. Back with you, and we're going to talk a little livestock market action now in this particular segment here. We had some new information a little bit ago from USDA in relation to our midday cutout values on the beef side. I wanted to share those with you here. On the choice cuts this morning, they say we actually gained quite a bit of ground, and if you recall, yesterday afternoon they were sharply higher too. Choice cuts up $1.40 this morning at 208.22 per hundredweight. Meanwhile, select cuts were up at $1.51, and they were priced at 193.86 per hundredweight. That spread is out to $14.36 right now. And then we had information on the pork cutouts and the pork primal cuts as well. Looks like carcass values on the pork side were up $1.02 this morning, priced at $79.14. The loin market down 27 cents. Hams gained $1.02. They're priced at $53.12 today per hundredweight. And the belly market gained $3.78. They're priced at $143.74 per hundredweight. And let's take a look at our live cattle futures, see how they stand right now. Remember that USDA cattle on feed report will come out at 3 Eastern time, 2 o'clock Central time. Live cattle right now on December are trading 45 lower at 116.72 and now 116.75. February down 38 at 121 even per hundredweight. They're both within about 15 or 20 cents of their lows of the day. If you look at the feeder cattle market, we have the November contract 40 lower at 154.03, and you have January 70 lower at 148.72. The far out deferreds for next late spring and summer are actually over $1 weaker. On the lean hog trade, we've had a lot of give and take here. We had some firmness on the nearbys early on today, and that pretty much vaporized. December lean hogs still up half a dollar at 52.80, but they had a high of 53.95 today. Keep that in mind. February now down a dime at 60.13, so that one is about $1.10 or 20 cents off of its earlier high this morning. So we go back to Scott Gecas at the edge of the trading floor in Chicago. He's with Longleaf Trading. And so there's a lot pushing and tugging on these livestock markets right now. You had very favorable wholesale beef and pork trade numbers, but yet you have that report kind of looming out there over the horizon and hanging over everyone's heads right now.
Yeah, everyone's waiting for the report. The estimates are going to be ranged from about 96 to about 105. Estimates are coming in early around 100.1. So we're going to see how that plays out. But moving forward with the higher weights, the higher production, definitely running into supply concerns. With the higher weights and the higher production, we expect that fourth quarter production to be actually higher than expected, right around those record levels. This is a time when that fourth quarter production usually declines. In this case, it's actually increasing in a significant pace. So we're going to wait and see how this cattle on feed report comes out, and then we'll make our adjustments after that report comes out. We are keeping an eye on that 116 level as far as the live cattle goes.
Okay, now when you talk about the demand as we get into the holiday season, when does that peak out, when you're talking about the wholesale buying?
Yeah, well, we got to see. I mean, we expect that the holiday season this year is going to be stronger than any other year in the past, only because of the economic data that came out. People are, the economic data coming out is extremely positive. The U.S. market's running on all cylinders. Housing prices are starting to come in a little bit just recently, but that still doesn't affect, the cattle prices or beef prices. People are still going to the store. They're still going to buy. That's why these prices are at these levels currently.
All right. Thank you, Scott. Scott Gecas of Longleaf Trading in Chicago. That's the very latest information, and we're getting closer and closer, a couple hours away now from the Cattle on Feed report.